Hey Ryan, it is James. I'm the pastry chef at Public and Quality Bread here in Chicago, and I am challenging you with my favorite ingredient of all time, and that is tarragon. Can't wait to see what you make. See you later.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Key Ingredient. This month, the challenge comes from my friend James, and he gave me tarragon to work with. He works with a lot of laminated doughs and croissants and bread. I am not great. I could be better at making laminated doughs. I don't make them a whole lot. I wasn't gonna do a plated dessert because that's what I've been doing with the Key Ingredients. However, when it comes to the ingredients that the chefs give me, I try to stay close to something within their arena, either personally or professionally. I'm gonna do a tarragon croissant, and I'm going to incorporate the tarragon in several ways. I'm gonna put the tarragon in the actual butter block that will be incorporated into the layers of the croissant. I'm also going to do a goat cheese filling that's going to have tarragon as well. On top of that, I'm gonna do a blueberry tarragon compote, so that will be inside of the croissant. So you're gonna have tarragon on like all these different levels, and hopefully it won't be like too much, which can be like my address sometimes. But yeah, here we go. I'm gonna make the compote first, get that out of the way, and then I'm gonna make the goat cheese filling, get that out of the way, and then start on the dough for the croissants, because that needs to sit overnight. Tarragon is a slightly sweet herb. It's kind of licoricey. You see it a lot in chicken and fish dishes and like a lot of French shit. You don't see it in desserts a whole lot, but I really like it with blueberry. I pair those together a lot, so we're gonna do that. So I'm gonna start by adding a ton of tarragon into the butter block that I'm going to laminate into the croissant dough. That way I can have an extra layer of tarragon flavor throughout the whole croissant. For the blueberry tarragon compote, I'm going to start by massaging some lemon zest into sugar because sugar is hygroscopic, so it's going to pull out all of those oils in the zest, and then I'm going to add the tarragon in at the last minute. For the goat cheese tarragon filling, I'm just going to throw everything together in a bowl with the goat cheese, cream cheese, egg yolk, lemon, honey, salt, and tarragon. So sometimes I get myself into trouble because I go against my better judgment and I think, oh, I shouldn't do this, or I shouldn't use this tool. And then I go ahead and use it, and then I prove myself right by saying, oh, I knew I shouldn't have done that, but I did it anyway. So using a whisk here was stupid, and then I have to switch to something else that's more appropriate, like a spoon, which can help blend this together really well. And then waste a bunch of time digging and scraping and picking out a bunch of shit for my whisk when I should have just used a spoon in the first place. 10 minutes later, onto the croissant dough. I'm going to throw everything into a bowl, mix that up just until it forms a ball. It should look just like this. And then after that, I'm going to flatten that out, fold it once with a letter fold, and then let that sit in a bowl for an hour. And then after that, I'm going to press that into a sheet pan, let that chill overnight, and then take that out the next morning. It has been a very long time since I've made any type of croissant or any type of like properly made laminated dough. I think I haven't made croissants since pastry school, which I think was about 1400 years ago, give or take 30 years. So I was a little excited about this. So to laminate dough, you start by rolling it out into a rectangle usually and placing like a slab of butter in the center, and then you fold the dough over. You can do a book fold, or you can fold over like a letter, and then you repeat this process a few more times, usually like 3 or 4 times, to create these thin layers of butter between the dough, and then that layering traps steam, and when it's baked, like the fats melt, and that gives you those flaky, airy layers, and croissants and puff pastry. That's what $30,000 of pastry school yields. I threw the goat cheese filling in a piping bag so that I could add that to each portion, and then on top of that, I dolloped a little bit of the blueberry tarragon compote, and then folded each piece over and threw that on a sheet tray so that I could proof them. And then I snacked on the leftover pieces of dough because I'm a sick fuck. After they proofed for about 2.5 hours or so, maybe 2 hours, I made a little egg wash with some yolk and cream, brushed them with that, careful not to cover the exposed layers so it doesn't trap them from rising, covered them with some flaky salt and black pepper, and then threw them in the oven to bake. I didn't want to waste some of my extra dough, so then I made a few cruffins, like this little guy. Yeah, that still needs more tarragon.